What's up, my foodie family? I hope you're all eating well. Thanks for joining me again. Today, I wanted to talk to the kitchen employees in the industry, all my kitchen industry people. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who works in the kitchen industry. It's a hot, sweaty, demanding job. It's very fast paced. It's not for everyone. So the people who are able to work in it successfully, thank you to everyone who's able to do that. You guys are very necessary and needed, and we're very thankful for you guys. Um, to all the people, to everyone else who works in the culinary industry that just has a job, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with just having a job. We all have priorities. We all have needs. We all have kids. Family. Well, we don't all have kids, but we have families and we have things to take care of. So everyone needs a job. And me personally, I feel like you know we all should get jobs in the field that we like. But I understand that jobs aren't always available, and sometimes you might have to get a job doing something that you don't necessarily like to do, and I understand that. What I want to say is, if you do have to get a job in a career field that you don't usually work in and that you don't really like or whatever, and you do need money, you do need to pay your bills. Just research that craft, research that career, research that field. Be a little knowledgeable. Don't just go in there and just go to work. Put pride in what you do. You're gonna have pride always in what you do, no matter what it is, no matter how much you like it. Okay, I have a scenario for you. This is old school, but there's two men, right? Two men, and they work in construction, right? So they're building a house, and somebody walks past and asks one of the men, "Hey, sir, what's your job? What are you doing?" He says, "I'm laying brick. That's my job. I lay brick." Okay. He asks the other guy. He says, "Sir, hey, what are you doing?" The other guy says, "I'm making the most beautiful house anyone could ever live in." So when you're working, you know, are you laying brick, or are you making the most beautiful house anyone could ever live in? And this is in any field. Like let's say the culinary field. Are you cooking? Are you a cook? Do you go in the kitchen and cook? Or do you make the best food anyone could ever make? Because that's the idea. Like whenever you touch a saute pan, whenever you cook food, you should always be making the best food anyone could ever eat. Anyone, people eat this food and they say, "Man, hands down, this is the best meal I ever had." Or they say, "It was sustenance. It filled me up." You don't want to just fill people up. You want to make people happy. You want to make the food so unbelievable that people feel like they have to come back to you again. Like every time I cook, I want the food to taste the best it has ever tasted ever. Always. And that's where I try to stay at. And I think after COVID, after a lot of things happen, there's people who just need jobs, and I understand that. But it gets kind of frustrating when you work around people who don't have pride in what they do and they just want to earn money. Because me, I love cooking. Cooking isn't just a job for me. Cooking is a lifestyle. Cooking is everything. I'll eat and sleep food. Wake up food. And I think about recipes all day long, every day. So I really care about what I do. I really take pride in what I do. Even if I'm making a salad, I want to make the best salad ever. So I challenge you guys, if you're new to the kitchen, if you're new to the culinary world, if you're new to the kitchen industry, do a little bit of research. Research some top chefs. Read some culinary magazines. Join some culinary groups. Be versed in the kitchen and have some knowledge in the kitchen. And that way you're not just a cook in the kitchen. You taking pride in what you do, or you're making really good food. It's a big difference when you just slap food on a plate, and then when you actually take time and present it nicely. It's completely different. So read culinary magazines. Watch culinary TV shows. What culinary TV shows are you watching? But don't just watch these shows just to watch them. Learn from them. Like, what are you learning from? Like me, all day long, I'm learning. I do my best to learn everywhere I go. If I see a recipe, like, all right, what's different? What are they doing different that I haven't done? If I see a picture of food, like, all right, how did they plate it? All right, okay, why did they plate it that way? Somebody tells me something about something they cooked or they prepared, I'm listening to them, like, all right, why'd you prepare it this way? Why'd you do it that way? Like, what were you looking for? So I'm always learning, always. And another thing too, side note, that like I said, I mentioned before, the kitchen industry is fast paced, right? You got to move fast, but you also have to move efficiently. Just because you move fast doesn't mean the food is good, doesn't mean you're effective. All right, so efficiency is better than speed all day, every day, no matter what. So we want to get the food out quickly, but it has to be efficient. It has to be good food. It has to have good flavor. It has to be presentable. It has to have the textures it's supposed to have. So there's a whole thing that goes with it, and it's not just cooking the food. It's putting your love, putting your heart, into the food that you make. And then there's also employees out there, who are really good at what they do. They're not new to the industry and they're looking to move up and become management, which is absolutely fine. But before you can manage anyone, before you can be a leader to anyone else, like, you have to follow a leader. You have to show why you can be a leader. I've seen so many people come into the kitchen industry and day one, they want to be a manager already. And they don't do anything the way they're supposed to be done. They do everything their own way. You know what I mean? Like, you got to at least follow the rules first. Follow the way somebody else is telling you. And then once you become a leader, you can adjust things if you need to. But you have to show that you can lead. You have to show that you can follow a leader before you can be a leader yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I know nowadays it's like not popular to go to culinary school, but I think it is. I think everyone who wants to be in management, if you should definitely go to culinary school. It's more than just a culinary school. There's all types of different things that they teach you. There's nutrition. There's purchasing. There's cost control. There's hospitality math. There's there's a lot of different things that you can learn in school. So, and then another thing is too, would you go to a dentist who hasn't been to school? Would you go to a doctor who hasn't been to school? A lot of people are, becoming chefs and they haven't gone to school, which is fine. They learned off other people, but it's like, why are you trusting other people to give you all your knowledge? Yeah, I get it. You go to school, you got to trust them to give you knowledge too, right? But you pay for that knowledge. You know what I mean? So of course they got to give you good knowledge. And then in school, there's all these different chef instructors, right? They all been in the industry for all this long time. So now you got these people who've been in the industry for a long time, and they can talk to you and they can tell you the things that they've experienced, the paths that they've been down. That's a lot of experience that you can learn just from going to school, with talking to different chefs, being around other culinarians who care about what they're doing because they're all in school paying for the schooling. Okay, so you network. When you go to work, everybody there doesn't care about cooking. They all care about money. So there's no culinary networking going on at work. But when you go to a school, everybody there wants to be a better chef. So they're all paying for this knowledge. So now you have a culinary network, and then you have all of these chefs that are teaching you too, and then that's another part of the culinary network. So you grow your whole culinary network just by going to school, if you do it correctly. So you get your knowledge and you get your network. You're not getting a network at work. It's usually at work, 2 or 3 people who actually care, and everybody else doesn't care. You're not networking with that. You can't do anything with that. But I feel like you should definitely, go to school. So read those culinary magazines, watch those culinary TV shows, learn off everything, everywhere. Go to culinary school, and just like be the best you can possibly be. You should always be learning every single day. And school is like a master class. People pay for master classes, but they don't want to pay for schooling. But a master class is essentially schooling, and you pay for the master class. So school, the books, the magazines, the TV shows, and also if you want to move up and be in management, you have to stay teachable. People have to be able to teach you things. You can't say, all right, I'm a manager, now I know everything always. No, that's not true. You don't know everything. There's always opportunity to learn. And if you do become a manager and you're not constantly learning and getting better, then you start to get dumber. And then now you're managing people and you're not smart enough to manage them because you're not constantly increasing your knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, a person in charge should always be as knowledgeable as possible. I ain't saying they should know more than everyone else, but they should have a good catch of knowledge that they can pass down. That's the reason you're in management, because you've experienced, you've been through a lot, and you think fast on your feet. That's cool. Now you should be able to pass that down to everyone else so they have that same knowledge. You don't want to keep all the knowledge to yourself, because then your team isn't as strong as you are. You want your team to be as strong as you. You don't want to be the strongest one and everybody else is weak, because that means anytime you walk away, everything goes to shit. That's not what you want. You want everything to always run efficiently. And you do that by training your employees to be better employees. Teach them what you know, and allow them to be better than you. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't want your employees to work for you forever. You know, you want them to go off and be managers somewhere else. So now you can say, that guy used to work for me and he got promoted to be a manager, or he went off somewhere else to be a manager, and that girl worked for me and she went off somewhere else to be a manager. That means a lot. That means people that are working for you are becoming better. You know what I mean? That's what you want. You want the people who work for you to be better. So if you do move up into management, you know, all the managers out there, you know, all of those executive chefs and sous chefs and, you know, kitchen managers, all those people, you know, you guys definitely have to stay knowledgeable. And the employees who move up into management, don't stop there. Don't move up into management and say, I made it. Yes, I'm a manager now. I can stop doing work. No, that's not the case. You got to work harder now. You know, because now you got a whole staff of people that you have to be responsible for to make sure they're doing their work. And you have to make sure all the work is done. So you got to be on point. You definitely got to be on point. Like, the work gets harder. You got to be better. It's not time to get complacent and comfortable and go in the office and kick your feet up and say, yeah, I'm living the good life now. Nah, that's not what it's for. You got to get better. So managers out there, I've already challenged the employees to, you know, take culinary classes, you know, read magazines, watch culinary shows, you know, and just learn everywhere from everybody. You go to the grocery store, you see a recipe in the grocery store, take a picture of it. You know, look at it. Why did they do that to that recipe? You know, you should always be wondering why the recipes are put the way they're put. You know, why did somebody decide to put this? Why did somebody decide to put that? You know, because usually it's a flavor profile. This flavor mixes with that flavor and it creates a new flavor, or it's a texture thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, are they putting the ingredients together because of texture, or because of flavor, or because of both, or because of color? So it's like, you have to ask yourself why they're putting these together in this way. What made them do that? So always learn. I challenge the employees, the hourly employees, to always learn and to always stay knowledgeable, always stay teachable, and to get better always. Okay. Now I'm challenging the managers, all right, to do the same. You know, in order to be a good manager, you know, you have to be a good leader. And a lot of times people are becoming managers and they're not good leaders. They may be good cooks, you know, they may be, you know, they make it happen, they get things done, you know what I mean? But they're not good leaders. They yell at people, they scream, you know, a host of different things. You know, they're not good examples of what you should do, but they do good things, but they get the job done. You know what I'm saying? So managers, man, you got to be good leaders. You got to be better at leading people. You got to be better at being people. Be a people person, you know. And a lot of managers aren't. A lot of managers suck. A lot of managers hide in the kitchen. They don't want to come out to the table. A lot of managers, you know, hide in the office, you know. So, man, like, just leadership books out there. When I was in culinary school, they taught us about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, like, that was one of the first leadership books that I read. Second one, the 21 Immutable Laws of Leadership. It's a very good book to read also. I worked for another place and they gave us the 1 Minute Manager compilation book to read. It's another good book. And then there are also other various leadership books out there as well. There's nothing wrong with reading. I just said, you know, go to school. There's nothing wrong with knowledge, nothing wrong with reading. Like, stay on point. Let's say you 30 and you become a manager, right? And then now 10 years pass, you 40, and you never did any type of studying. You never went to school. You never got any new knowledge. You didn't do anything. You still have that 30-year-old knowledge that you had. Even though you're 40, you're going off a 30-year experience. You know what I mean? Because you're not learning anymore. So whenever you stop learning, that's where your education stops. You know, that's the experience that you have that you can give to people. So you want to continuously, if you're 30 and you get to 40, now you should have a 40-year-old experience. But if you're 40 and you got a 30-year-old experience, now you're behind. This is because you haven't been researching, you haven't been studying your craft, you haven't been reading those leadership books, you know, you haven't been staying up on how to be a better manager. All managers should have a whole file, a leadership file, of everything that they compiled about leadership. They should put it together, and every manager should have their own leadership style. You know what I mean? Most people, they do what somebody else does. Just do this. That's okay. You don't have to just do what I do. No, I don't want to do what you do. I want to do what I do. You know, I want to do it the way I do it, because I don't like the way you do it, or the way you do it is for you. You know, like everybody, one of the biggest things we do in management is we cut people's legs from under them. And how we do that is we want everybody to be the same person. Robots, cookie cutters, and that's what take the character away from the restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, if you go to a good restaurant and you have good conversation with the people that work there, you know, like you like that restaurant more. But if you go to a restaurant and everybody's cookie cutter, yes, no, blah, 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 they're all robots, you know, the food might be good. You can't talk to anybody there because they're all robots. So I don't want to work around robots. I want to work around people who actually have personality, people who actually have character. Okay, so like this is what you want as a manager. You want to have character, you know, you want to have personality, you know, you want to be a good leader, you know, you want to be knowledgeable. This is all the things you want. You don't want to hide in the office, you don't want to hide in the kitchen. No, go out and talk to everybody, touch tables, you know, be an effective leader. You know, this is what makes your employees better. You know, they see you touching tables. They see you, you know, good personality, bubbly. They see you, you know, not being angry and mad. They follow suit. Now they want to be happy. They want to be bubbly. They want to touch tables. You know, they want to run food out there now. You know, this is so that you breed a culture. And this is what you want. You want to breed a culture. So I challenge the managers to read those leadership books, you know, stay knowledgeable, you know, teach your employees how to be better so they can go and get promoted and be better managers. And, you know, I challenge the hourlies to do the same. You know, read those books, you know, read those magazines, you know, watch those shows, always learn. You know, we have to make the kitchen industry better. You know, we have to, it's up to us to make this industry better than what it is. And I know we can do it. You know what I'm saying? So I stay up on my books, my magazines, all recipes, you know, Bon Appetit, you know, Food and Wine. And I've been getting these magazines for years. I have so many of these magazines. It's ridiculous. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. You know, Savior, you know, man, I have at least, you know, 1,000 magazines, man. Honestly, I really do. Another Bon Appetit, another Bon Appetit. You know, so it's my culinary cooking book, the one I got from culinary school. You know, it's a thick baby. And I got some bunch of pages marked in there, you know, but this is what it's about, man. Look, I even got a magazine as a book, as a place marker in the book, in the cookbook, you know. So you got to stay with the knowledge. You got to stay knowledgeable. You know, you got to stay getting smarter. It's not about going in the kitchen and just cooking food, throwing some food in the saute pan and slapping it on the plate. It's way more than that. You know, you cook that food too long in that saute pan, it's gonna dry out. Why is it dry out? Because the sail squeeze and it squeeze all the juice from outside of the sail, and first it goes into the meat, all right? And then once you continue to cook that, the meat squeezes out of the juice and it goes into the pan, and then now there's no more juice or moisture inside that meat you cooked because you overcooked it. And the reason it's overcooked is because how that sail squeezed that protein out of it. The sail squeezed the juice out, and then usually you let food rest so that way those sails, they relax. And see, the sail squeezes, right? The juice goes into the meat, all right? So it goes from the sail into the meat, okay? So now, once you take that meat off the grill or wherever it's at and you let it rest, that sail relaxes and the juice that's in the meat goes back into the sail. So now when you bite it, you're taking juicy bites. That's why you let the meat rest. So when you cut it, the blood doesn't just rush out. That's when the blood is in the meat, it rushes out when you cut it. But when the blood is in the sail, it comes out when you chew it. So when you overcook food, it's overcooked because the sail squeezes all the juice out first into the meat, and then it was continually overcooked. So that juice that was in the meat got squeezed out into the saute pan or on the grill, but it's not in there no more. You know, so that's what happens. And this is how you understand. The more knowledgeable you are, you understand why we do certain things we do. It's not just throwing the food in the pan and sauteing it. It's have to understand you cook it to a certain point, but you still want it to be juicy. You don't want it to be charred. You don't want it to be crisp. You know, you want it to be, you know, a perfect golden brown. You know what I mean? So it's like, the more knowledgeable you are, the more you understand it's not just cooking. It's a lifestyle. You know, it's a whole process. And the more we understand that as an industry, the better we get as an industry. And it's up to us to make this industry better. So please do me a favor. Help me help make this industry better. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Love, peace, and fish grease.